Okay, so we're recording now. Let me announce the meeting. It's Thursday, November 19th, 2020, 5:04. We're beginning the Strategic Plan Committee conference call.
Special meeting.
Special meeting. And the participants, if I miss you, then let me know, or let us all know. Myself, John Wynn, Jay Gross, Marlene Batista, Stephanie Schechter, Andrew Graceffa, and Justin Thomas. So anyone else joins, we can tie them in a little bit. Agenda's been noticed through the town clerk's office. I believe everyone has the agenda, and we have a quorum of participants. So if everyone should know that in case I need to mute the call for some reason, you'll need to individually unmute yourself using the procedure that's in the instructions that we sent out. So everyone okay with Kristen Tierney is on the call as well. So just sound up, Kristen, so we just know you're out there. So, Kristen, possibly you are muted. She texted me saying that she's on the call. So you might be muted. So can you hear us, Kristen? Text me now if you can hear me. Kristen, you need to dial into the number that was in the instructions that I sent you, and then possibly unmute yourself as per the instructions.
John, why don't I text her on the side? This is Stephanie speaking.
Okay.
To give her the new phone number to dial in.
Okay, that would be great.
In case she missed it. Yep, no problem.
So she needs to call in on Conference Bridge 2, which is the second set of instructions I sent out. And you should have her number in the text string that I originated earlier today. So while you're doing that, we'll proceed along. We've called the meeting to order, confirmed that we have a quorum, and first item is to approve the minutes of the September 8th meeting. As I noted in the agenda, there was one thing that I noticed after I had re-reviewed them. It was that there was a transposition on the invoice. It was, I think I had indicated 4764. It actually was 4674 after I went back to check it. So I made that update in the minutes. Any other adjustments to the minutes that people suggested?
No, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I think Kristen might have had one adjustment that she, and possibly we can talk about it. I'm not sure where she wanted to include it, but she had a recollection that we talked about reviewing the plan in a year or so after we have clarification on COVID-19 and what's going on with that, for anything that might change or impact the way the plan is proceeding. Does anyone have that recollection? If it sounds consistent, we can update I'll update the minutes to include a reference to that.
I was on the call. I don't recall that.
Yeah, this is Jay. I don't recall the discussion, but I think in general, including the statement, and I thought we had included a statement somewhere that this was a living document and should be reviewed, on a periodic basis. I actually thought we recommended shorter than a year for the first time, and every time it's reviewed, it should obviously be, you should be baseline against, current events. So it shouldn't be a one-time thing just for COVID or anything else. It should be part of the implementation is to reevaluate the strategic direction based upon, current events.
Okay. I can update something that I think would accomplish what Kristen recalls or thought she recalled and what we're talking about now. So with an adjustment like that, everyone okay with the minutes then?
I'm sorry. I just got on, Kristen. I had called the other line, so Stephanie just texted me this line.
Okay, super.
So I missed that whole thing. So I'm assuming that had to do with the COVID note?
Exactly, Kristen. So what we kind of talked about was there wasn't a clear recollection of an adjustment to review it in a year, but I think Jay's observation was, as part of the discussion, we had talked about different aspects of keeping this a living document and reviewing it for changes related to current events and new occurrences or anything related to that might impact upon how the plan was being implemented.
I feel pretty strongly about this, and I actually think I said like sometime between 9 and 15 months to review it, specific to post-COVID. All of my clients are doing that with their strategic plans, whether they're for-profit or nonprofits. But I did feel strongly about that, and I did mention it. So, I was on the other line. I don't know what happened there, but that's just the best practice right now for everybody. So I do think that that's important because things are going to change within this plan because of COVID.
Great. Why don't we just note that, and let's note it and approve with that note. How about that?
That's fine. Thank you.
Great. I make a motion we approve the minutes as noted.
I second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Okay. So, Kristen, so just so you're aware, it's myself, Jay, Marlene, Stephanie, Andrew, and Justin on the call.
Oh, great. Hi,
so
everyone.
we announced the meeting. We have a quorum. We're proceeding through the agenda right now.
Great. Thank you.
All right, no problem. So I had circulated item 3 on the agenda. I had circulated a couple of different things that hopefully everyone's had a chance to review, had a chance to think about, did not get any significant or any adjustments to anything related to the materials. So let's talk about each one of them individually. Executive summary, and I can provide a little bit of background as to the evolution of this and what we were seeking to achieve with it, if that's okay with everyone.
Sure.
So the executive summary was what we talked about at the prior meeting. We had the 6-page or so executive summary, and we tried to cull that down into a more succinct document and get it down to approximately 2 pages by editing out content, not creating new content, and distill it down to a very succinct document that would outline kind of the executive summary thoughts and outline the key big ideas as part of that document, because that were 2 of the things that in the course of our discussions last time we thought an executive summary and a better articulation of the 3 big ideas that had been talked about: the developing the waterfront, re-envisioning a downtown area type of development, and kind of the walkability zones that would provide economic growth in various different parts of town, were a couple of the several items that we thought we would better able to summarize. So that was the purpose of that document. That information has also been rolled into the draft plan, so it's going to run exactly consistent with it. We're not going to have a separate executive summary in one place and a different one in the plan. It's going to be one and the same. So let's talk about that for a second. Anyone have any issues, questions, suggestions, observations about it?
I just wanted to send over some edits. I can send them by Monday if that's not too late for you.
No, I mean I can roll them in at any point. If they're edits, as long as they're not really adjusting the content and the intent of what it is, if it's wordsmithing, comma, something like that, then absolutely fine. I just think that as long as we're not changing the intent of the document, I don't think we need to re-review it with everyone. If everyone's okay with that, with this thought, we can filter in wordsmithing here or there as long as it doesn't really change the intent of what's here on the page right now.
Yeah, I won't change any intent. I just wanted to make it a little bit more readable. And no offense with that. I understand writing these is very complex, especially when you're going from 6 pages to 2. And I just had some edits, and I won't change any content at all.
Okay.
I hope it'll just help you to, because you just did, yeoman's work from 6 to 2 pages. So if this just helps to make it a little bit more readable, then that's it. I won't change any content at all.
Okay. Everyone okay with that? Any other suggestions related to?
Nope. I made my suggestions, I don't know, a round ago or something, and wanted to thank you and Marlene and Jay for all of your work in taking everyone's work, edits into account and putting them in the document. It's not easy and not a lot of fun to do that. So thank you all for your work on that. And I've already made my comments, so I don't really have any from this point.
Okay. Anyone else have suggestions, ideas?
This is Andy. I echoed Justin's statement. I sort of commented before the executive summary reads well, so I don't have any material edits to make for it.
Okay. So when I get Kristen's edits, I will kind of assess the significance and extent of them, and I certainly will circulate them to everyone. If anything in them seems to change things, then I want to try and avoid a kind of another go-round of edits and meetings and reviews and that sort of thing. So we'll do what we can to make sure that it's not extensive in the way of changes. So second item is the presentation, which is a document that we've put together to provide something in the same level of detail and format that we've used for all of the other, and we actually reuse some of the charts from some of the other Board of Selectmen and Town Board and Commission presentations that we've put together. It's the PowerPoint set of slides. It runs about 10 pages or so. It really just kind of outlines the path we've taken, the conclusions that are summarized in the plan as it stands now, and kind of next steps for getting started and moving forward, and a couple of the other points related to COVID and social justice that we've talked about at different points. So let me open up the floor to kind of observations on that, suggestions, anything related to that.
I wasn't keen on this, Marlene. I wasn't keen on having COVID-19 and social justice in there at all, but I like the way that it's been revised and put into the slide under other considerations, because it's obviously two things that we did not discuss at all in our time. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm okay with the way that it's now in under some other considerations.
Okay.
Because I wasn't comfortable with that.
I agree with that.
Otherwise, I think the presentation is great and a lot of hard work from John and Jay. I did not participate in that at all, so thank you both. And I think this is what we need to get in front of the Board of Selectmen, or Brenda at least, to begin with.
Right. So I have some thoughts on that, just to update everyone on kind of some of the goings-on and next steps and that sort of thing. I'll do that right after we get through kind of the third item here in the third document in item 3, the draft strategic plan, which is the longer document that provides the community context, the demographic information, the actual success factors within the plan. That's the real extensive document that HLA has helped us put together. So, everyone's had a chance to go through edits and suggestions, which I think we have updated the document to reflect a lot of those, but just to see if there's any other thoughts or comments related to that document before we decide that this is the package of materials that we're going to move forward with. So any thoughts and observations around that?
This is Justin. I have the same comment as previously. I already made the edits and sent them in. So and reread it, and it looks consistent with that, and it looks great. So once again, thank you and for all your hard work. And I don't have any further additions to it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Stephanie. It's excellent. I think it's great. I like the way you handled the COVID and, the year that is 2020. So thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Thoughts, comments? All righty. So with that, I think it would be appropriate for us to take a vote to, and let me try out what, if people agree with it, would be to then confirm that the structure of the information we have as far as the executive summary, the presentation, and the actual strategic plan document are something that are, and someone help me out here, are, the type of information, or it's the information that we're going to move forward with discussions with the town administration and finalize into the ultimate plan.
No, in other words, what we're all voting on is our agreement to move forward to the next step to formalize this and communicate it to the town leadership and the citizens of the town as the official strategic plan. So I say yay. So you got my vote.
If that was a motion, I'll second the motion, or if that wasn't the motion and just a vote, I'm all in. That was Stephanie.
So we have what I would say would be a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any objections? So we're good from a kind of a unanimous vote with moving forward with this information. So I think we're good. I'll craft a motion that, or document that in the minutes, and then I think we're probably good to go. Where do we go from here? Let me just update everyone on kind of HLA status. First off, Dan Gardner, who had been working with us for a while, who was the kind of the more senior person that was working with us day to day, is moving on from HLA. He's finishing up his work there. He's committed to support the completion of this document, and he's also transitioned the work to John Housel, and Jackie is certainly going to be involved, kind of getting things finalized. And I have their commitment that they're going to make sure that this gets, finalized with us through the steps that they've agreed to their level of professional, performance and completion of their responsibilities. So the fact that Dan is moving on, he's decided to explore a new opportunity that was, a little bit different than what he had been doing at HLA. He's interested in doing it, and I think it's a good opportunity for him. So, but he is committed to, working with Jackie and John to helping everyone finish this up, because he spent, such a significant amount of time working on this with us. And he's leaving HLA in a good kind of relationship standpoint. It's not that there are any sort of professional performance types of issues related to that. So I just wanted to update everyone on that. They have reached their contractual limit as far as payments. They've also agreed to complete the work without any additional fees, which is good. We were keeping our eyes on that, but we have their commitment that they're following through, and any excess above the contracted amount is not going to be billed to the town, which in this fiscal environment is a very good thing. The couple of things that they're going to work with us remaining would be kind of a video town hall potentially. which we talked about at the prior meeting and we thought was a good idea. So they have several ideas on how to go about doing it using either, one of the different presentation platforms where you can have people present and describe information. You can show a document. So they're going to create something similar to, a very high-level presentation for those purposes, and then figure out which tool they have, which would be the most effective at allowing the presentation and the discussion to town bodies, so it can be recorded and replayed for whoever would want to see it afterwards. As part of that, they would have the opportunity to have people from the committee and HLA present or describe various different parts of it. They could allow Q&A, and they could allow a review of the document, whatever type of things they would need, and it could be recorded for future reuse. So that's what the intent is there. We'll figure out how to exactly accomplish that. And one thing I did notice that was missing from our implementation plan as it came about from the creation of the big ideas was the implementation plan we have in the plan now does not really have 2 or 3 specific steps that I think would be prudent to have as far as, ensuring the implementation plan has for those big ideas something that's going to make that part of the actual implementation. So I'm suggesting that we develop a few different steps that we can add to the implementation plan. Something along the lines of, assign resources to develop and outline the approach, consideration, opportunities, and challenges for each one of the 3 big ideas, identify steps needed for a structured analysis. I thought about this afternoon when I was rereading the implementation plan. We don't have 3 or 4 succinct steps that would, structure the way the big ideas move forward. So
to ensure they move forward, I agree with that.
And so I was thinking that I can craft up something that we would add to the implementation plan. It's not going to change what the plan is. It's not going to change the big ideas. It's really just going to help structure the actual implementation, and it would go into the implementation matrix that we have. So if everyone's comfortable with that, what I can do is I can circulate what those steps would be, see if anyone has any edits or suggested additional steps to it, and that wouldn't change the real type of information we have in the plan. It just will help it be executed more effectively. Thoughts on that?
I agree. I think that's great.
I agree as well. I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yep. I think it's terrific. John, let me know if you need any help with that.
Okay.
That was
Super.
Stephanie.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's see. Just looking at item 4, I think we've kind of covered most of the topics that we've outlined in item 4. Anything that I'm overlooking? Any thoughts that anyone has on
Timeline? Do you want to talk about the timeline?
ASAP? So, what would we do in a timeline? The first thing I think we need to do is take the materials that we have and put it in front of the first selectwoman and take her through it. And I'm willing to do that as quickly as we can kind of move that forward. I'm told that we probably could get on her schedule within about 2 weeks. That was last week, so I don't know what the 2 weeks, because Thanksgiving's coming up and there's a few other things going on in Town Hall right now. But so let's say sometime over the next 2 to 3 weeks to get with the first select woman, and then right after that get with the other members of the Board of Selectmen, which we probably need to do individually, unfortunately,
right,
because of the way that our town governance structure works. Can't meet with them in... So I would say between now and the end of the year to accomplish both of those things would probably be very good. And I think we need to accomplish those things before we publish the report as a draft. because the thing that we didn't want to have happen previously and we don't want to have happen now is putting the plan up on a website and then having a call show up at town hall when town hall hasn't been briefed on what the plan is.
Right.
I agree with that. That seems smart. Is it possible to have a Zoom meeting and get all of the second group together in one rather than try to go to them individually and maybe, consolidate it into one meeting?
As I understand our town governance structure, they can't meet two members of the Board of Selectmen because it forms a quorum, so they can't meet together to discuss something. So that's why we did it individually with both of the prior pieces of work that we completed, and that's why I think we probably need to do it that way as well now. Even with a Zoom meeting, it's considered a public meeting. It forms a quorum, and the structure we have for town governance prevents that. It is kind of crazy, I think, but that's the way it works. If I find out that that is not the case, then yes, I would try and move it in a unified, expedited fashion, but I'm not sure we can do that.
Okay.
So, other thoughts?
So basically, we're going to try to get the meeting with the first select woman in prior to the end of the year. Hopefully the other two selectmen before the end of the year, but we don't anticipate anything else really happening prior to the end of the year, do we? I just don't know that we're going to get people to focus on it. There's just so much going on.
Yep.
And you're in the holidays.
Right.
So I don't know what you do about that.
Well, plus COVID ramping up, everyone's going to freak out and not want to go to a meeting too. So it's going to make it
right. And I don't think that we were
difficult.
planning any public meetings. They were all going to be, from what I understand, virtual. But I just think everything's ramping up, right? And then people have kids home from school. It's just everything's a mess. So, when we roll it out, it doesn't really make sense to do that with not everybody paying it, with people not even paying attention.
And with all of that aside, practically, just looking at calendars and schedules, we would want to be, as John was saying, in front of the Board of Selectmen, before this gets distributed too widely. We wouldn't even be able to get them briefed and get on Board of Selectmen calendar before the end of the year. So from a practical standpoint, it won't happen before the end of the year. I'd like to be in a position that we're able to get on a Board of Selectmen meeting, pretty quickly after the meeting, would be my guess.
So let's try it this way. I will start the drumbeat to get on the first select woman's calendar, which I'm told we can do in person or virtually, and I don't know which one of the ones they prefer. And the information I had might have been before the latest COVID uptick, so they may revert back to only doing things remotely. But I will start tomorrow to reach out to them and get on the first select woman's calendar to allow us to brief her first, which is the courtesy that were provided to the prior administration and in the prior phases of this work with her. Once I achieve that, we'll figure out what the most expedited fashion is to brief the other two members of the Board of Selectmen. And then as quickly as we can accomplish that, we can figure out when the next steps would be for moving anything forward. If something happens in early December or mid-December related to that, which I'm not optimistic because of, as Marlene points out, the holidays and people's attention and focus. But keep the pressure on and do it as quickly as we can. So, and we actually have
that sounds reasonable.
We have a December meeting, so I can update everyone at that December meeting. just kind of the progress we've made in the past 2 weeks on moving that forward. Sound reasonable?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that's how we'll proceed. I think it's a very the best path forward at this point in time. So the other items on the agenda relate to something we'll need to do in the December meeting is the election of officers, and also set up the meeting dates for next year. So this is what I did was provide the dates in 2021 following the same schedule that we've been using. Whether we will continue to meet as a group, we should have a discussion around. I could see it beneficial meeting as a group until we actually finalize the plan, and then what happens after that, we would need to kind of figure out and formulate our approach as a committee to continuing to meet topics we would be involved in. I haven't really truthfully thought that far forward to how do we stay together as a group if people are interested in staying together as a group, or how do we form into the next set of activities that would help the plan move forward based upon how the administration is going to commit to executing the plan that we've outlined for them. So that being said, what I think the prudent thing to do from an FOI requirement standpoint is identify the meetings with the 12 regular meetings that we would have during 2021, identify the day, what time we're going to meet, that sort of thing, so we can get rooms set up for it or ensure that call-in lines are set up for it, whatever we would need to do. And in December, elect officers for next year, and then we can, figure out how to adapt our structure as a group as we move forward after that. I'm open to suggestions and discussion around that topic.
I think that sounds like a plan.
Reasonable.
Okay.
Yes, from a practical standpoint, let's just get the dates on the calendar in terms of what our role and responsibility will be during transition. That's going to be a topic of conversation for the future. I don't know that we have enough, understanding of the time frame. Number one question is how quickly does the first select woman want to move towards implementation? I think the answer to that question will drive everything else.
Right.
I don't foresee that the committee will be needing the whole year to meet, for next year, but I understand we have to get this on the calendar.
Right.
Right.
And then if, at some point in time, I'll make it up. By March, we have determined how it's going to move forward and what our role would be, and we want to manage ourselves differently, not with a public meeting type of approach, and more part of implementation activities. And we decide to cancel the meetings for the rest of the year, then that would be fine. We could figure that out when we get there.
Yep, I agree. Let's take it one step at a time and get on the first select woman's calendar.
All righty. I will do my best to move that forward. Realizing there's a lot of new breaking information here in town, but in any case.
Yes.
So, any other thoughts or suggestions that I'm just looking at my notes of the things that I wanted to ensure that we kind of covered and talked about. I think we have everything on my list kind of covered. I want to open it up to anybody else that has thoughts, suggestions, comments.
Well, I would just like to return the compliment, not just to Justin and Andrew, but to everybody who's kind of hung in here and, volunteered your time and your intellect it would have been pretty lonely without everybody's participation. So I just, now that we're getting near the end, just wanted to, I appreciated being able to participate in this effort in the way I was, and I wanted to thank everybody for their support. My God, it sounded like a speech, didn't it?
And it's not over till we get the plan finalized.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Well, when this is all said and done, and we can all get together without establishing a quorum, and we can all get together without having to be 6 feet apart, let's make sure we all get together and raise a glass.
Absolutely. But
Absolutely.
These last two comments make it seem like this is done, and it's not done. We still have work left to do.
Absolutely, we know. We're just forecasting, John. We're forecasting to the time that we could actually all see each other and be in one room again.
It is, especially
people need hope.
Coming up to Thanksgiving, and you can't get together with your family. It's kind of interesting, but in any case.
Yeah.
So we can talk more in December. I will keep everyone updated on schedules moving forward with, what I find as we try and push forward. And I appreciate everyone taking the time to review, providing me comments, and providing, suggestions to the overall effort. And, look forward to more of it as we push forward. So
thank you.
With that, I will say happy Thanksgiving to all.
Yes, you too.
Enjoy.
To you as well.
Enjoy your Zoom calls or get together with family in person, however it might kind of roll out for everyone. So.
All right, thank you. I guess we have to make a motion.
We have to make a motion. Yep.
Yeah, I make a motion to
go ahead, Justin.
End the meeting. All right, I make a motion
I second it.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
Bye-bye.
I'll call a close to the meeting at 5:41 p.m.
Very good.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.